Ever faced someone who openly disrespected you in public, at work, or even among friends, and you froze, unsure how to respond? Today, we will solve that problem, not with emotions, but with a strategy so precise that those who dare to disrespect you will think twice before trying again. Disrespect is a trap. It is never an accident. It is always a move. When someone dares to disrespect you, they are not merely expressing contempt, they are testing your emotional stability, seeking to provoke an uncalculated response that strips you of control. Most people fall into this snare instantly. They react at once, eager to defend their pride, their reputation, or their ego. But in doing so, they reveal everything: their weakness, their lack of composure, their inability to rule themselves. The first law of power in the face of disrespect is this: never respond immediately. Control the timing, and you control the outcome. The moment you are disrespected, your instincts will demand retaliation. Your heart rate quickens, your thoughts scatter, and an invisible force inside you screams to answer back, to attack, to restore what you feel has been taken from you. This instinct is precisely what your opponent counts on. They know that anger makes you predictable, and predictability is death in the realm of power. To respond in haste is to hand over your weapon to the very person who sought to humiliate you. The wise do not react, they calculate. They understand that silence and patience are not signs of weakness, but of supreme dominance over one's own nature. To control the timing of your power, you must first learn the art of stillness. When the insult lands, you must appear unmoved, as if their words or actions have no weight upon your existence. This will confuse them. People who disrespect others feed on visible reactions. When they find none, they begin to doubt the effectiveness of their strike. They question themselves, and in that hesitation, you gain an invisible advantage. Outward calmness is a mask, and behind that mask, you are observing, dissecting, and planning. Control of timing also allows you to see the broader field. Immediate reactions are based on limited information. The heat of the moment blinds you to the larger pattern at play. What if the disrespect was intentional bait to make you overreact in front of others? What if it was meant to expose your temper to those watching silently? By waiting, you can gather intelligence: who supported the insult, who remained neutral, who enjoyed your humiliation in silence. Each detail becomes a weapon in your arsenal, but only if you refrain from impulsive retaliation. There is a secondary advantage to delayed response. It allows you to strike when the other least expects it. An enemy who insults you expects immediate resistance. When none comes, they grow careless. They believe you weak, submissive, or incapable. They drop their guard, and this is when your counterattack, executed with precision and preparation, will have the greatest effect. Such timing transforms what could have been a petty exchange into a decisive lesson. The one who disrespected you is left bewildered, not just by your eventual response, but by their inability to predict it. To truly master this principle, you must also learn to endure the whispers of the crowd. People may perceive your lack of immediate reaction as weakness, and you must let them. Their opinions are fleeting. Their judgment is shallow. What matters is not the approval of bystanders, but the outcome you craft. Let them think you are passive while you sharpen the blade of your strategy in silence. When you finally act, it will not be with words or heated emotions. It will be with an action so calculated that it ends the matter entirely, leaving no room for retaliation. Control of timing is not just a defensive maneuver. It is a demonstration of superiority. It communicates that you are not governed by others, that no insult, no provocation, no attempt to shake your composure can dictate your behavior. This aura of unshakable calm makes people hesitate before ever crossing you again. They realize you are not like the others who react, explode, and embarrass themselves. You are a different breed, one who sees beyond the moment, one who lets time itself serve their purpose. Disrespect is never merely an insult, it is a revelation. When someone disrespects you, they expose a vulnerability of their own, their emotions, their lack of discipline, or their underestimation of you. The untrained mind sees disrespect as an attack to be defended against, but the strategic mind sees it as a gift, a weapon handed to you without cost. To turn their disrespect into leverage, you must first understand that every insult carries with it a hidden opportunity, and it is your task to extract it. The moment someone disrespects you, they believe they have taken something from you: your dignity, your status, your control. What they fail to realize is that by striking first, they have revealed their position. In any conflict, knowledge is power, and they have just shown you where they stand. They have marked themselves as a threat, but also as someone incapable of patience and foresight. This is your opening. Instead of wasting energy on anger, you must shift your focus to observation. Study their motive. Why did they choose to target you? Was it out of envy, insecurity, or an attempt to gain favor from others? The reason behind their action will tell you how best to turn it against them. One of the most effective ways to use their disrespect is to redirect it back upon them without lifting a finger. When you do not react as they expected, when you show no outward sign of hurt or agitation, they begin to look foolish. Others around you see a contrast, their aggression met with your composure, and that contrast works in your favor. Slowly, they start to lose credibility, appearing petty, insecure, or even desperate for attention. By maintaining your calm, you allow their behavior to degrade their own reputation, all while you stand untouched. Yet, this passive advantage is only the beginning. True leverage comes when you take their act of disrespect and use it to build your own power. Perhaps they sought to undermine you in front of others. Use this to demonstrate unshakable professionalism and earn silent admiration. Perhaps they tried to provoke you into a mistake. Let their failed attempt reinforce your image as someone impossible to manipulate. Each insult becomes a stone in the foundation of a stronger persona, one that cannot be shaken by trivial attacks. At times, their disrespect will provide you with direct opportunities to strike. Their public insult might alienate them from potential allies. You can then offer those allies something they lack: stability, reliability, competence. Their attempt to demean you might expose their own flaws. Use those flaws discreetly, positioning yourself to exploit them at the right moment. If they speak ill of you behind closed doors, let their words circulate long enough to be recognized as malicious gossip. Then expose them without appearing vengeful, simply by letting the truth surface at a moment of your choosing. Their own action becomes the trap in which they are caught. Leverage also lies in memory. The world often forgets insults quickly, but you must never forget. Keep record, mental or otherwise, of every slight, every attempt to diminish you. Not to brood over, not to act upon immediately, but to hold as a resource. When a time comes where you can influence their downfall subtly, indirectly, perhaps even through others, you will act with the weight of accumulated evidence. This is not revenge. It is the cold application of justice delivered when it most benefits you. The most profound use of their disrespect is transformation, to let it harden you without hardening your heart, to turn their attempt at humiliation into a source of strength. Every attack endured and turned to advantage teaches you mastery over yourself and others. Eventually, you begin to welcome such moments, for each one adds to your arsenal. Each one makes you less vulnerable and more formidable. Where others see insult, you see opportunity. Where others see weakness, you see the raw material of power. In this way, their disrespect becomes not a wound but a stepping stone, not an obstacle but a gift they will one day regret giving. When you are disrespected, the greatest mistake you can make is to reveal that you are plotting anything at all. The power of a calm exterior lies in its ability to deceive. Those who strike at you expect retaliation. They expect anger, protest, or some visible sign of brewing conflict. When none comes, when you appear untouched and unbothered, you deny them the satisfaction of victory and lull them into a false sense of security. Yet beneath that mask of composure, your mind must be working with relentless precision, mapping out the steps that will lead to their undoing. Calmness is not passive, it is a weapon. It allows you to think clearly while others are blinded by emotion. Your adversary, having shown disrespect, has already exposed their impatience, their inability to restrain themselves. They have fired the first shot, and now they wait, tense and watchful, expecting a counterattack. When you give them nothing, no hint of movement, no emotional display, they grow restless. Their vigilance begins to wane. This is when your planning takes root. Planning in silence requires discipline. It demands that you separate the personal sting of the insult from the strategic opportunity it presents. Do not ask yourself how to satisfy your pride. Ask how to maximize the advantage this situation offers. Perhaps their disrespect has revealed cracks in their alliances, a weak point in their authority, or a flaw in their character you can exploit. Every insult carries with it a thread that, if pulled carefully, can unravel an entire fabric. Your task is to find that thread and pull it at precisely the right moment. While you appear calm, you must gather intelligence. Watch their behavior, their interactions, their strengths and weaknesses. Who do they rely on? What do they fear? What do they value most? These answers are seldom found in direct confrontation. They are discovered quietly, through observation, through patience, through listening more than speaking. The silent planner is like a hunter who studies his prey from the shadows, understanding its patterns before delivering the strike. By the time you act, you will know them better than they know themselves. Silence also serves another purpose. It keeps your enemies guessing. When they cannot read you, they cannot predict you. They may try again to provoke you, escalating their disrespect in hopes of breaking your calm exterior. Let them. Each attempt further exposes their true nature to others, making them appear unstable while you remain the embodiment of composure. In this way, you win allies without asking for them. People are drawn to strength that is quiet and unshakable. They trust those who do not lose control under pressure. Your calm becomes a statement in itself. You are beyond petty battles, yet fully capable of decisive action when needed. When the time for action comes, it must be executed with the same precision as your silence. Do not announce your intentions. Do not telegraph your moves. Strike in a manner they cannot anticipate, in a way that leaves them no chance to recover. This does not always mean a direct attack. Sometimes the most devastating downfall is orchestrated through subtle manipulations, turning their allies against them, exposing their flaws at a critical moment, or removing the ground beneath their feet so quietly that they do not realize they have fallen until it is too late. Such outcomes are only possible when you have planned in silence, when every step was calculated long before it was taken. The true strength of appearing calm while planning silently is that it transforms you into something they cannot fight. They can argue with anger, but they cannot argue with patience. They can defend against open attacks, but they cannot defend against what they cannot see coming. Each moment you maintain composure while plotting your course in secret brings you closer to the inevitable turning point where the balance shifts in your favor. By then, they will have grown complacent, underestimating you entirely, and when you move, it will not be a reaction. It will be the conclusion of a design they never suspected existed. Reputation is a fortress that protects without you having to raise a sword. It precedes you into every room, speaks in your absence, and shapes how others treat you before you utter a word. When someone disrespects you, they are not merely targeting you in the present moment. They are attempting to chip away at this fortress, to weaken the perception others hold of you. The foolish respond to such attacks by openly fighting, by shouting louder, by engaging in public battles that often harm their own image more than the insult ever could. The wise, however, do not waste their energy on direct confrontation. They use reputation as a weapon, striking indirectly, allowing perception itself to dismantle the offender. The key to wielding reputation is to maintain its strength even under attack. When insulted, humiliated, or mocked, your first instinct may be to defend yourself vocally, to prove them wrong with words. Resist this. Words are fragile, actions and perception are unbreakable. Let the world see you unmoved, your calm, your poise, your continued excellence in what you do. All of this contradicts the attack without you needing to utter a single defense. Over time, this contrast becomes undeniable. Their attempts to diminish you appear baseless, while your reputation grows stronger precisely because you did not descend into their arena. Attacking indirectly through reputation is a subtle art. It involves leveraging the very network of people around you to shift perception against your detractor without implicating yourself. When they disrespect you, let their actions speak louder than any retaliation you could give. Ensure that others witness their pettiness and your restraint. In workplaces, social circles, or public arenas, this difference becomes a narrative you. The composed and capable, the bitter and insecure. Few things are as destructive to an enemy as being quietly painted as their own worst enemy. Reputation also allows you to strike back without appearing to strike at all. Consider this: when someone openly disrespects you, they are often trying to harm your standing. Use that very moment to showcase the opposite, to excel publicly, to deliver results, to gain recognition that overshadows their attempts to harm you. Every success you achieve in the aftermath of their disrespect acts as a silent rebuke, making their attack look not only ineffective but petty. They become the fool who threw stones at a castle only to watch it grow taller. There are moments when indirect action through reputation requires more than passive excellence. It demands strategic influence. You may quietly provide opportunities for their flaws to be exposed without direct involvement. This could mean allowing them enough rope to hang themselves, placing them in situations where their incompetence or malice naturally reveals itself. Because your hands remain clean, their downfall appears self-inflicted. The public never sees you as vengeful. They see you as someone who simply continues forward while others destroy themselves. The deeper power of reputation lies in its cumulative effect. One act of disrespect might bruise your ego, but a well-built reputation cannot be toppled by a single blow. It takes years of consistency, integrity, and calculated image building, and when such a reputation stands firm against attack, it sends a clear message: you are untouchable. This alone discourages future attempts. People are less likely to challenge someone whose reputation is not only strong but known to withstand assault. They will think twice before disrespecting you again, not because of what you might do in response, but because of what they risk losing by being seen opposing you. To master this approach, you must learn patience and foresight. You must understand that true victories in power struggles are rarely won in heated exchanges but in the slow, deliberate shaping of how the world perceives each player. Every time you refuse to be dragged into a public battle, every time you let your actions rather than your emotions define you, you sharpen your reputation into a blade that cuts without being seen. Those who strike at you will eventually find themselves isolated, distrusted, or dismissed, and they will never be able to trace their downfall back to you, for you never fought them directly. You simply stood firm, let perception work its quiet magic, and allowed their own actions to become the instrument of their defeat. Disrespect is never truly resolved through argument, explanation, or emotional displays. Words may soothe pride temporarily, but they rarely secure lasting respect. To end such matters decisively, you must understand that finality in power struggles is achieved not by what you say but by what you do. When you rely on words, you invite debate. When you rely on actions, you leave no room for discussion. Dominance, when executed correctly, does not need to be declared. It becomes self-evident. Dominance begins with timing. If you have followed patience, gathered intelligence, and allowed perception to work in your favor, the moment to act will reveal itself. It may not be immediately after the disrespect. In fact, it often should not be. The best outcomes arise when your adversary has grown overconfident, convinced that they have escaped consequence. This is when a single, calculated action can dismantle everything they have built. The purpose of such an act is not revenge. It is to restore the balance of power entirely in your favor, and to make an example so potent that no one considers repeating the offense. Actions that establish dominance vary depending on the arena in which you operate. In a professional setting, it might mean outperforming them so thoroughly that their attempts to undermine you are rendered laughable. In a social environment, it might mean exposing their hypocrisy at a moment when all eyes are upon them. In any context, the action must be precise, undeniable, and impossible to recover from. Subtle humiliation is often more effective than outright confrontation, because it destroys them in the eyes of others without portraying you as vindictive. The lesson they learn is silent, but permanent. You cannot be attacked without consequence. Dominance through action also requires a lack of emotional attachment. If you act from anger, you risk overstepping, making mistakes, or revealing too much. The strongest response is one delivered with the detachment of inevitability, as though their downfall was not personal, but merely the natural result of their own behavior. This approach is devastating because it removes their ability to frame themselves as a victim. When your response appears as nothing more than the natural order of things, it becomes irrefutable. Consider also that dominance is not always about destruction. Sometimes it is about elevation. Your elevation. When someone tries to drag you down through disrespect, rising far above them in status, achievement, or influence can be the most crushing response of all. They aim to reduce you, but instead, their attack becomes a footnote in the story of your rise. This form of dominance carries a double blow. It restores your position and leaves them irrelevant, which, to a rival, is worse than defeat. To ensure your final act of dominance has the desired effect, it must resonate beyond the immediate moment. Those who witness the disrespect must also witness the outcome. This creates a lasting impression, not just on your adversary, but on everyone who might consider challenging you in the future. They will remember not just what you did, but how effortlessly you seemed to do it. This reputation for silent, decisive retaliation will shield you more effectively than any future argument ever could. Ultimately, actions are the language of power. They cut through pretense, silence opposition, and establish truths that cannot be debated. Once you have acted, there is no need to explain, justify, or engage further. You have made your point in the only way that truly matters. Through results. Those who once disrespected you will understand, consciously or not, that you are not to be tested again. and those who observe from the sidelines will carry forward the unspoken message. You are not a person to be taken lightly, because when you respond, you do not speak, you end.